leading into my final question, a couple points. The first one is, you know, you were saying that, you know, some people are afraid, or it makes them uneasy to look into these realities or what they might find. Because the thing is that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily, there's no guarantee that once you look into it that you're going to find something bad, you know? If you're someone who's interested or thinking about maybe I'll look into the economy, what could possibly be happening, there's no guarantee that it's going to be bad, although there is a strong possibility that it could. And, right. I mean, for me, the reason why I'm so interested in this is because I'm still driven by fear. I still have plenty of fear. The thing is that I am much more afraid of what could happen if I don't do what I'm doing right now than what could happen if I do. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Right, so exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the one thing. And then going into, my final question is, it's
just to make a point real quick on what you just said, the reason why some people don't go deep into it, I agree with you, is that it gets either way. So it's not that everyone who doesn't look into it is afraid necessarily. If they don't want to look into it because they're afraid, then you can have a dynamics behind that can be negative, meaning that, you know, you're not bracing yourself, you're not getting an understanding or saying, okay, well, what's plan B based off, you know, at least understanding this and being able to take it and work through it and get past it. But then you have those who don't want to look at it because they don't take it serious still. You know, they look and say, you know, I'm going from one extreme to the other. You know, I'm saying then you have I'm sure there are many people who still are at another extreme, like, you know, it's not a big deal. Let's say these may be people who are employed, obviously. These could be people who are employed, still holding on, but feel like, you know, it's not. This is not a big deal, and they're not really interested in what's going on with the economy and what's about. So therefore, they're not interested in, you know, they figure if I don't look into it, it doesn't exist. And it's okay. You know, it's not wanting to look out the window to see that the hurricane's going. You know, it's like you know, and then that's a negative. There's a negative dynamics to that too, because it's like saying, okay, everything's good now. You know, you don't always plan for the worst when the worst is here. You want prevention. So you want to be able to say, let me look at it, let me see, and say, you know what, we may need to start doing this. Or, you know, maybe create our spending more this way, because although we have jobs right now, although things are okay and we're holding on, we don't know the way things are looking by next year. It could be a total different story.
Right.
So, you know, there's two total ends where, you know, you have those same groups of people, but for different reasons, not wanting to get into it. You know, not wanting to look at what's actually happening. Right.
Right. So, on the final question that I have for you, Khadija, what has this experience? Has it changed your faith in the system, or where you put your faith? What effect has it had on your faith in the American economy and in American life? Are you getting a grasp on what I'm asking here?
Well, pinpoint it a little more for me. When you say what is my faith, in the context of what?
In the context of, for example, we were talking about there's kind of this plan set up where to say, okay, well, you go to school, get a job, earn a certain amount of money, join the corporate ladder, this type of thing. And if people do it, they have faith in it, they expect it to work out. My question is, going through what you've gone through, has this shifted your belief in that type of plan and that type of system? And also, has it shifted your confidence in such a way that you have a little bit more, shifted some of your confidence away from the system and more into your own personal abilities, or away from, say, the job and more into investing, for example? Has it shifted any of your where you place your confidence as it relates to the economy and your own personal financial situation, what you're doing with your money and your life to fit in.
Right. Well, I see it in various ways because I have 3 daughters and I have 2 that are adults. So what I'm viewing and what's going on right now, I do have a difference. Well, in a sense, let me just kind of back it up a little bit. As far as the usual, guidance and the usual training, again, as we said before, of, you go to school, you do this, you do that. And, in my age range, it's like once you do that, everything is fine. And as you went through life in your 20s and your 30s and even your 40s, everything was fine, Now it does become an eye-opener to realize, like, okay, now you're really getting the feel of, like, the economy and how it can really hit close now to home. Again, I've worked in the field of investment management, so that's always been crucial for me, and that's something that I've always give as guidance to my daughters, as far as when we now speak of as far as how you work your money, how you have your money work for you, and things of that nature. So if you're with a company, the importance of understanding the benefits that come with that company, such as retirement. So if you are doing the traditional job, understanding the benefits that come with that are tantamount to you even after you leave that job. And understanding, again, investing. If there's a 401k, the importance of young people, your age, that if you are with that, basic 9-to-5 job or that, that you understand 401ks and 403b plans, and you understand the importance of investing in yourself at a young age. Again, preparing for not just retirement, but just for anything that may come along 10 years later, 20 years later, and the importance of that. A lot of young people really don't see the importance of saying, okay, I'd like to invest 8% of my salary, to go towards my 401k plan every payroll, and taking advantage of the company match if there's a company match, and really understanding the market, looking at, the market, and when you're putting your money into something, what it's doing for you. I teach my daughters that. I didn't get necessarily that training from my parents, but that's something that teaching my daughters to do at a young age, and knowing and understanding the importance of that. I look at it now as even more so than when I was even doing it. I always think, retirement, okay, I'll do it because this was my field anyway.
Right.
My field was investment management, so I learned it young, but not many people do or understand it. But now I see the application of it more now. If someone was, 20 years old, if they were or 22, whatever, and they are in a company and investing, whether they invest outside or invest with the company, number one, that's what I see, is understanding where to kind of put your money. And even with that, there are questions, because that could be a whole nother conversation we have. That could really be another conversation as far as understanding the stock market and the issues that relate around that. But we won't go there. But I'm just saying, still about saying, it's almost like, again, prevention. And you don't wait till the fire and say, okay, well, where are the exits out of here, and where's the, it's saying, okay, let's prepare and let's be set so that if this happens, we know what to do, we know where to go, we know what our resources are, number one. Number two, this era that we're going through now has taught me to, again, understand the importance of knowing how to sort of shift, knowing how to redefine yourself and to make yourself where you have many elements. Don't always just give yourself a single element of, I'm an accountant. It's like it's of being able to know how to redefine yourself, understand. I mean, because again, this is all coping. This is all survival. As far as how I feel, like as far as the government and the economy and my faith in it, again, it makes me very suspect to a lot of things, and again, that can be we could be talking forever when it comes to things like that, but it is indeed a learning experience for me because, again, I come from a generation where it was the opposite. With, your age range, you're coming into this. So the dynamics is very interesting. There are young people who are literally coming out of college. I mean, my daughter's boyfriend literally came out of college, got a job, and was laid off, I think, like 3 months later. I mean, these are things these are realities that are happening. So these are how that age range is viewing what's going on. So you see, you have a different scope, and understanding the scope of people from different age ranges is what make it really very unique. And as you really analyze it, when you really analyze it, you gotta segregate it in a way. You really do. Sometimes there's one denominator, but at the same time, there are different aspects of this that have to be sort of separated, because then you get you really get a full scope when you look and say, okay, this person who's this age, this person who's that age, just like when they do surveys. If you get a survey, you just can't say we survey 500 people and say, well, okay, well, were they males, females, because you have different scopes, So it's, to me, really scary when I think of young people today, because your views and young people who are coming out, and then there are young people who are looking at their parents, who've always told them all along, listen, it's about getting that, job, that plan, the whole that you follow. And then they go, well, I'm looking at Uncle so-and-so, and he's driving a cab. He's got a PhD. So why am I striving to get a PhD? And you know what I mean? Their faith from the beginning, right out the starting gate, changes. The way they're looking, and they're getting a whole different picture than what we had coming out. Right. We had just take that picture and do a total 360. That was us. That was my group. That was my age range. Coming out, the world was yours. The gates opened up. The sun was out, okay? And it's like you can go and try this field, that field, whatever. And it's interesting. It's just very interesting at this time. So, for some, the message hits one way hard, and for others it hit a different way. But again, it teaches me to, really see the realities, and the guidance that I try to give my daughters, I try to structure it around that, to say, to sort of be trained to be independent when you really need to be independent, to be your own person. If you have creativity, to go towards that creativity and not be too reliant on a certain system that if that system breaks down, you are so dependent upon it that it really just wrecks your world,
Right.
So,
and on that note, so you've heard